First time I'm sort of standing up and giving a talk, but I like to see all of you. Thanks. It's a nice memory for me, just sort of when I see you. I was brought up in southern Africa, Lesotho. I don't know where Lesotho. Just I remember like going to my class many years back when I see all of you. I was like one of the students, but there was that strong yearning. I was feeling so restless, sort of wanting to know what this life is. What life means, like I was very philosophical, want to know like a secret of life. Like I felt this everything works in a certain order, certain kind of system. And initially I was very interested in physics also. Special theory of relativity interested me very much. And I would say those days my hero was Einstein, many years ago. And so that was around 15, 16 years of age. And I remember there was one lecturer who I always appreciate, like we had a soul connection, because some of my other friends, they thought I was very dreamy, like thinking something not very practical. But I did. So what happened, this particular lecturer he understood me actually. He felt that I was really searching for something very deep. And he used to write in my recommendations, what was it, like Shanaka, that time my name, Shanaka is searching for a stimulus and fulfillment beyond what we English call school. So I think he really saw ahead. I mean, I didn't imagine I'll be wearing these robes and staying there. I never thought of that. I want to be a scientist actually, because I thought science is the one, I mean, if I be a scientist, it will fulfill my, I think all of you have assignment or something, is it? Okay. All right. You have to report after this meeting, maybe what's your experience or what. I'd just like to know maybe what class you're sort of, from which class are you coming to this? Yes?
Journalism.
Journalism. All of you?
Well, not everyone, maybe at least half, close to it.
Philosophy? Okay. So journalism, philosophy, with philosophical mind, journalism, all are same. Okay. So, but only thing I like to see now, at this age, you have so many confusions and sort of so many anxiety as to your future. But I see always, like say someone comes to a new place, okay? When you come to a new place, you feel confused. What's the reason? Because you don't know the place exactly. You don't know the exit. You don't know the entrance. You don't know, which corridor, this and that. But after some time, you get to know, and you go in life. I mean, you don't have a chair. You can. Okay, I see. He has a chair. You can even use my chair, no problem. You can remove the seat and. So. When you get to know a place, you don't worry, you don't fear, you have confidence. Same way when you get to know life, what this is, what this life is all about, you have confidence. You can test, especially, I think the end of education should be, those days I was thinking, it's when you can face death without fear. That means you have understood life completely. If you can't face death fearlessly, of course you can be like a soldier, show that you're not frightened. But actually not to be frightened, is a different thing. That's what we expect from enlightenment. And we know a way to enlightenment is meditation. That's one thing we know. I will go into that slowly. Actually, this gentleman was telling that before also you had a monk or something, or because they didn't have enough meditation or something. He was telling me some. So I said, well, okay, I must tell you, just you should get some feeling immediately. I would say I would not talk about meditation. Some meditation should activate right now in your brains. That means certain lightheartedness, feeling of lightness, or not feeling much worried about anything, like time should pass fast also. If you feel bored and all that, your mind is weak. What you do, the meditation is done to make the mind strong. That means you raise the consciousness normally. So this is a kind of practice where you don't feel bored, you don't feel sort of any anxiety. Your mind is really happy for no reason. So I just must give you a small introduction. I just stopped there. I happen to go to Kailash, Himalayas a lot. From 2009, Kailash I have been going. And before that, in the forest of Sri Lanka, from jungle to jungle. So I had an inspiring monk, a German monk, who gave me a lot of inspiration to further this practice. I met him when I was 18 years old. Before that, in southern Africa, I also had this one experience. First, through relativity, it made me to know that there are other dimensions. I will tell you how. Like I was reading my parents, all sort of books, the Bible, different literature, different texts. While I was reading, there was one that's called sutras, where one of the godly beings come to visit the Buddha. And when they come to meet the Buddha, they ask the master, it also explains about that realm. It tells 1,000 years on earth is one day there. It looks fairy tale as you read like that. But then, when I was aware of relativistic effects, the near the speed of light, that time could be dilated, time could be stretched. That gave sense. That gave the possibility. I mean, it's from my still ignorant level, you feel it as a possibility. But then I felt that these worlds do exist. Because there's an order in the cosmology, you find, like 1 year in this planet is like 1 day in those realms. Like there's such weeks, such months. It goes on like that. So it has an order like that. So it makes very sense that from relativity, that time could be, slowed down based on, say, gravity and relativistic speed. That's how we know normally. So there it gave me sort of a faith, the connection that these realms do exist. And in my mind, it came to my mind that these worlds are powerful too. So that time I have been only thinking about these things, and I didn't do my studies. Like I was dreaming, so much. So some miracle have to take place. So what happened? In the night, you should not try this, but I used to take the syllabus and I used to take the old test papers and sort of focus my mind, get a feeling that these worlds do exist. Through relativity, it's like a faith, you get. Now I realize that when you don't disbelieve this, you have a sort of certain confidence that it is there. That is where you get connected to these dimensions. So the pointer that helped me to do that was relativity. That was a fact that was also proven. So then with that I used my mind to focus on this particular, and when I felt I'm connected, I sort of took the past papers, and sort of approximated the English language, English literature, essay titles. Okay? So it's like predicting it. And then what happened? I told my father to take to my tutor and write 2 essays under these 2 headings. I didn't tell all what I did. Then after 2 days, this exam. So when I went to the exam, suddenly, when the papers were given, when I looked at the paper, these 2 headings are there. This was the IGCSE at that time. International General Secretary, I think the Cambridge Syndicate. So when I saw these 2 headings, I felt so confident. This was my beginning, I would say. like the universe was in my hand. I didn't care about college or any of this. I was really, this was my thirst, but that didn't give me the idea of being a monk. But based on this, another thinking came, which was like, my thinking was like this those days. Now, if something goes fast at the speed of light, is there any mathematicians here? I would really like to confirm my those days reasoning. I had few lecturers those days. If something goes faster than the speed of light, mathematically it is said to go back in time. Okay, but it's not practical because it says when the speed increases, the mass increases near the relativistic speed. So if I assumed there's a mental particle, okay, that can go, mind particle that can go faster than the speed of light. And if it goes faster than the speed of light, it goes back in time. So at that time it meant that we do go all the time. How? Can you picture my hand?
Yes.
You do. And can you remember the picture you had? So you've gone faster than the speed of light. Just now. So this is the way I reasoned out when I was that age, 17. And then if it goes faster, now these experiences of like a thought process, where you have more sophisticated thought, where the frontal lobe, this area is more active, very distinctly. There, these speeds are increasing. And then this idea of this wisdom, where this intuition, then I thought there's a possibility of coming where time stops. Okay? These were all in a theoretical form in my mind. But with this thinking process, at the age of 18, I never forget, then I was to go to Princeton, tell you, long years ago. We just visited. I was to go there because I was supposed to study astrophysics. I was thinking now, okay, if I'm going to live, I must, pursue these studies. So then I used to go for walks every evening. That's a habit I used to do like this. Suddenly one day when I was going on a walk, suddenly, I don't know, it came to my mind like, anything that, like what are the causes for any phenomena to happen? Something like this in a mental picture. With that, because my whole life is full of only experiences, I will tell you this. So I'm starting from my early age. It's so nice to see you all. It's like going in a time, this thing, I'm seeing myself. Suddenly, there it came to my mind, anything that begins in time definitely ends. It was like a mental picture. I don't know how to explain this. It was like something like a intuitive. So now I know when you have intuition, you go to infinite zones in your consciousness. I will come to that slowly. How we get stress and how stress, where you don't have stress is where there's an energy part of your brain. So anyway, when this particular experience I got, it came to my mind, anything that begins in time definitely ends. It's like, even this talk has a beginning. It's all this experience in our life. We take it for granted. We don't notice this principle working underlying all our experiences. Do we have an ice cream? Did we go for a lecture which did not finish? Which stopped in time? Did you think about it? Did you go through anything that up till now, this moment, that did not change? Did you? And do you believe this moment will not change? Or any moment that might come in the future? You can't, if you really think about it. Because secret of life is in change. The secret of eternity is in change. But we see it in terms of flux and all these things, even as scientists, we do see the atomic structure and all these things. But this is another kind of seeing. But there's another kind where the ancient masters, they found out, because they saw the relatedness of how consciousness is fueled, how it is formed. I will keep those subjects slowly. So this experience, anything that begins in time definitely ends. This sort of picture came to my mind. And it came to my mind immediately, for this understanding, there's no beginning. In other words, this intuition, I would say. That time I used the word, how I verbalized it was like that. For this understanding, there's no beginning, therefore there's no end. And there I had a mind picture of a monk. That these monks are people who are trying to get this perception. And I must be such a person. This is the first time I really got strongly, this is the only way, I must be a monk. Because that time, whatever I focused to, it was like jelly. It was like just, a mountain. Now it looks solid because of our ignorant way of cognizing it. If we have wisdom in it, we will see it fast forward. So I was seeing now, the other thing, my interest to go to Princeton and all that, it just went to zero. Because Princeton, I thought, the longest thing that will survive in Princeton will be those granite buildings, okay? And then I saw those granite buildings also like jelly. So really, it was, tell you, that was my time that I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to pursue anything. But it didn't mean I became like a zombie or something. It was pervading in my mind and kind of a detachment to this external world and anything. And this was the interesting one for me, was working behind my mind. So that day, more evening, I told my father, I want to be a monk. Okay. That's how we treated. My father was really confused. I didn't tell all this what happened to me. It was nothing. I was just so silent. But something changed in my body and my life also. That's also important. Before that, I used to get into panics of, you could say fits of anger. It was more when I was in Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, that time my hero was Bruce Lee. I used to really, I was so much, some energy was there, I don't know, I call it in a positive way, but I used to hit people. If something irritated me, so in Sri Lanka, I was going to a good school, and but I used to get caning, though it was a disciplined school, I can't stay one place, and I used to hit people. And I was known, I was small mate, I had sort of an inferiority complex also that time. And this energy was so much. Then we went to Southern Africa, Lesotho. In Southern Africa, we have Lesotho, Swaziland. Lesotho is a small kind of landlocked kingdom. There I can't do all these things, no fighting. But then this was all going to sports. Like even javelin, I was very good. They used to ask me, what do you eat? Getting this energy, I don't know, something, and even cricket. We don't have cricket here, but I was so attached to cricket. And volleyball, basketball, all these sports I was doing. But I was not fighting with anyone there. But the anger was going with close people. I don't know how many of you, 17? 17? No one. Just, okay. This was hard time for me. This was the time that I was changing. So I always tell, don't worry, wait for 18. You'll be okay. So 16, 17, it's a bit tough, so many confusing this thing. So then my father, so what happened, I used to get angry with my father, close people. So I felt sorry also, what can I do? So then it happened, this experience took place when I was 18. There something happened, I don't know. From that time to now, I'm 46 now, that time I was 18. From that time to now, I could count the times that I scolded somebody. Okay? Like, something. I know I got angry, of course. Somebody managed to press my button, I know that. So that was, I would say, mostly all the 7 times was with taxi drivers in India. I had some, something, they are cheating, they're trying to cheat something and so on. So I just think, oh God, I caught. But it's not that way. I see the latent, you could call the tendency, the latent defilements in the consciousness. So we know that anger is not, there is this meditations called compassion meditation to remove anger. There are techniques. But my friends, it's not that way. The way a person gets angry, you can know the desires in that person. Because when you enjoy something, you drain a lot of energy. You need a lot of energy to enjoy something. Like it sucks your energy. So when energy is lost from your brain, your mind, it's not body energy, it's the mind energy. When it is lost, you can't go, you don't have enough strength to go inside. That means you don't have strength to become relaxful or peaceful. So when you don't have that peace, that happiness is lacking in you, then you're irritated. So even the smallest thing, so this is the cure for anger, is removing desires, removing intelligence or attachments. I mean, there are levels of desires also. So how you remove it? Desires? Because you desire always something, because you don't see the reality of it. Many in Berlin, in a program, some of them ask me, Bante, why are you a monk? the question comes to me, why are you not a monk? For me, I'm looking at you all, I'm telling you, why you are not being a monk? Because I see it's like a sinking ship, why don't you get in quickly? I say, what are you doing? It's no time, there's no time. This is how I see why. It's like this, this knowledge is at different levels. You can have it at theoretical level, and you can have it at an experiential level. If something is in an experiential level, it should show by your actions, by your behavior. It will change your entire, the behavior. So it's like you are holding a string. If you see the string properly, there's no question of letting go. No. That's wrong, isn't it? Okay. If you are holding a string, if you see it is a snake, is there a question of letting go? There's no question, right? So it's just like we're holding a snake, but we are still saying it's like a string. So these are many things. Now even our life, so many things, if you see how we are going to definitely die or this something, if you really experience that, you get enlightenment. Because there are many saints, they report, like Ramana Maharishi, I don't know if you know, in southern India, they sort of had the feeling, they went through the process of dying. And then they became the saints after that, because they suddenly went into another consciousness, a state of awareness. So anyway, I must tell you, but problem I will tell you, from age of 18 to 46 now, this anger was not an issue for me. And stress also. Okay, these are foreign. I hear here, there are a lot of things, people find themselves so stressed out. So this is what you all study for, is it? To become more stressed, or how not to get stressed? The real education should make stress a foreign thing. Alright? Yes. So anyway, if you're facing all these things, these are symptoms, my friend. And I will go quickly to just my biography. One particular part I want to go, because I had many experiences with all experiences of my life. And then I became a monk when I'm 28, okay? Then I met a very inspiring teacher after going from South Africa. It was a German monk. He was a wandering forest monk. And it was my good karma to meet him. And he was the main inspirer for me. He showed that this life could be lived today also. And so he gave me the material later. I will cut short how I met him. It's also interesting, but anyway. So then after that, I spent with him some time. It took me 10 years. 28, I became a monk, or ordained. I became a monk when I was 18, mentally. Okay, physically I became, of course, when I was 28. And from 28, I was going to certain jungle areas as a wandering monk, on foot actually. So my teacher was doing the same way. And so we used to stay at night times in monasteries and all that. So there are ways now. I tell always, I'm not a glass box monk. Stay in a glass box. We were trained to be with the rain, to heat, how to practice these things, how to sort of observe, the very experiences, and sort of see its truth, face it, and then sort of free yourself from it. So this happened. Now, the one main things I remember up till then was 2003, yeah. I don't know whether you know about Sri Lanka. There's LTT, the terrorists. That's called like the ISIS that time. Now it was finished by like a terrorist organization, the Tamil, from there, like the north of Sri Lanka. There was, like they were asking for half of the country. And that year I happened to cut across their area through jungle. So that is one of my, I would say, main experiences as a monk. I got my permission from my teacher, and it was a wandering trip there. So there many things happened, because they have killed many monks also. So there, but I didn't see them as terrorists. I was seeing the basic nature of the human existence. And I saw them in a certain way, so that there's no fear as such. And I believed in my compassion and my understanding of that situation. So that was one. I'm going fast, because those experiences, it will take 3 hours to say. So then the other one was like, what was it? Yeah. With the forest, with the bears and elephants. That's also, it will take some hours. After I bring in some stories just to give you some inspiration, but we'll see whether it will come up in my mind to share some. Then the recent one I would say was in Kailash. This is what also prompted me to come like this. Because as a young monk, one American gentleman, or Sri Lankan actually, living in America, he invited me some years back to come to America to give, to teach something or give some knowledge of this path. Then I told him, when I am an Arahant, I will come. Arahant is a term given to one who is fully enlightened. Like, that means how to check whether you're enlightened. You can't imagine an enlightened person to get angry, okay? Or greed, to have greediness, or have ego. This is the not having self-realization, okay? So I was telling that's what I meant. I don't care about the name. I was really thinking, when I'm free from this type of confusions and emotions or defilements, I would really like to come to the West to share. Because I have no desires. I mean, after that experience, when I saw Princeton also disappearing, I don't have no interest to come. I'm not interested to come to Disneyland or Las Vegas. No, not even to see one of these buildings. Mostly my journey in the vehicle is internalized. Because what I'm going to share with you, it is coming from internalizing something that comes from inside. And that is something like a cool well you have in your own brains also. You're not dipping in with a bucket to get that cool water. You have sometimes we have no idea of peace, because we don't understand the brain, how it functions fully. Peace is something we think after we finish the exams, okay? Get your degree maybe. That's how you see peace. Maybe when you get married also. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe now you don't have these ideas in this modern day. Like this you think, you settle something externally. No, my friends. You're going. If you do go like that, it will go on and on. You'll never find. Because peace comes when your desires come less. When the desiring gets less. More you desire, more the thirst will be increasing. And more you supply the demands or wanting, you achieve it. It's like drinking, salt water when you're thirsty. So there's another way. You can even get it right now. I hope I can impart it to you in the end of the program, going to the end of the program, where you will find immediately there's another area of your consciousness where you can reach, where you're at peace, and immediately you're okay. Time becomes, still for you. And that is the only real time for you. All these future and past illusions these are bad habits, my friends. These are bad habits of going to the past, future. And if you if you are going to begin to sort of be more observant of the present moment and you might even create miracles. Think about the exam tomorrow. Don't think about it now. And when you're studying, just pay attention to the study that time. And that is a meditation. And that doesn't mean when you meditate, you're going to be a monk. If you are doing any task in your life, that will become enhanced. It will become you'll become stronger in that. If you're a student, you'll become a super student. If you're a husband, you'll become a super husband. If you're a wife, you'll become a super wife. Because you become empty, my friends. More the emptiness comes in the mind from thoughts and sort of agitations, you tap the super brain. You become, who is doing extraordinary in something, it's because he has unconsciously tapped that part of his brain. That's why he can focus on whatever he's doing entirely, fully. And that makes him more different from others. So I will come. Then what happened to me, 2009, I was going to Kailash, Mansarovar, before I went to other parts of Himalayas. And in 2009, I went to this, Tibet. How many of you have heard Tibet? For journalists must be studying there, right? Tibet, China, is under China, military government there. Military, they're under the military there. And I have been going from 2009, almost every year. So we have something called altitude sickness. Did you get to know from anything given to them? Did anyone tell about how I got that? It's okay, I will tell you. So altitude sickness is something like, when you get that, there's no medicine. You really have to go to a low altitude. Or there are, so normally the best medicine is to acclimatize, slowly, sort of stay a few days, like that, slowly to ascend, like that, slowly, right? So what happened, I have seen people in other trips, some have died, I saw them dying, and some I found that they were almost going to die and they were recovered. So I have seen this on my previous trips. So normally we all get it somehow, the little headache, little this thing, and so, but 2013, sorry, 14, there's something called Kora. You go around the Kailash mountain. It's 3 days of journey. While I was going, like in the middle of the second day, I got this altitude sickness, fully, all blue, splitting headache, and I was like, I can't go anymore. And I was imagining all the time, there's some vehicle there. There's no vehicle, impossible. So my guide and the driver, they are also helpless. They can't carry me or anything. But I had physical strength, luckily. So we managed to come, there's one lake called Manasarova. We managed to come to that lake, and we were there. But the night time, I was almost choking. So I think I couldn't make it. So that time, we have a meditation where we will focus if something really comes to us, that we do daily. I must tell you this. Now, this is our main thing. That's where if you realize that, you realize entirely life. Okay? Because I will tell you exactly how we define life. When you're conscious only, you can say there's life, isn't it? Consciousness. If you understand consciousness. Now, this is normally the hard question in the modern materialistic world, of scientific world also. Because it's very difficult to, like consciousness is something separate from the body. Body is like a vessel for consciousness. Now I am giving a definition because it is least understood in the modern, because we are trying to understand consciousness through material, nerves and all that. You will never find it. Your research projects will go on forever. You have good jobs for a long time because it could never be found, my friends. It is something separate. It's like the instrument of this. This you have the projector. You have the electricity or whatever that goes through that. Okay, the bulb. I mean, the electricity is that current goes through that, and the other one is a supportive thing for that. They're separate. Same way, consciousness is something like electricity. I mean, the electric current, and the instrument, that is the wire and all that. It's like the body. You can take it like that. Sorry.
No. In your Buddhism view, you're the Thero denomination, was it, or which denomination were you?
Me.
Right.
I am the non-denomination. Okay. I would call myself, unfortunately I had to realize this, okay? Because I hope I belong to no denomination.
Right.
But I know we have the Theravada, they call it.
In your Buddhism, do you believe in like about how there is no individuality, but all sort of like an all-encompassing force?
Like conditionality?
Like there is no individual per se, but all in one sort of force, energy, and stuff like that.
Okay. What we see is that this idea of an individual or a person is a delusion. Okay.
But you were talking about consciousness, though.
Yeah. Consciousness is like, it's happening all the time. We have we see it like the eye consciousness, it's a phenomena. Now, normally it's very well understood by the masters. It's like you have eye and object. Then suddenly you are becoming aware of it. Now say you close your eyes and slowly open. Did you ever try to study that to see how it operates? When I try to slowly open, suddenly I'm becoming, that's what we call the eye consciousness. The mind starts to work. We have the eye as an organ, and then when you're conscious means it so happened fast. There are factors of consciousness. Now factors means when it's just happening, it says happen. Then there's a sensation immediately. These are one factor inside the consciousness, the consciousness is made up of these factors. When there is a sensation, there's something that perceives that sensation. That means that judges it. That's like whether it's pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. That judging part is called perception. When it says pleasant, there's a reaction part with greed. When it perceives as unpleasant, with hate or aversion. And if it is neutral, we react with delusion. So this is happening in every moment. It's with the eye and with the ear. So you don't have two, like you don't be conscious of eye and ear. It goes fast to here. Just one at a time it happens. So this is very clear in our meditation. We'll be perceiving this. And then we see this, with the idea of self, a person comes to this. You don't get an idea of self to emptiness. to you. For air, you feel there's somebody there. You get associated with the, now say you are seated like this. But if you're seated, say on the ground and your leg gets numb suddenly, then what happens? You don't get a feeling, of course. And when your leg is numb, if you don't see from your eyes your leg, sometimes you get the feeling whether my leg is there or not. Okay? It is with the feeling. And the feelings only you get the idea of, this is my leg. If you didn't have the feeling whatsoever, you don't get a sense of I. So this I is conditioned. It comes with the feeling, and now we are always identifying I felt it. This one, I'll come to that, how we can remove our emotions and how the conceptualizing could be removed. I hope we have, what's the time now?
We have only half hour.
Another half hour?
Until 4:30. Okay?
It's for a
The
while.
class ends at 4:30.
Okay.
So maybe however you'd like to do it, if you want to continue till like 4:15, and then we'll open up
For questions, okay.
Maybe you want to do a little meditation
So-
in the last 5 minutes.
Okay.
But please get back to your story about the altitude. We're
Okay.
talking about that, and we'll hold our questions
Thank you.
till
I will
then.
try to do a crash lesson for you. Don't worry.
You can ask how many want to leave at they can stay.
No, it's
Well,
okay.
they'll stay. If they could stay, you're welcome to stay after 4:30 if you have
No, I
questions
will.
and like to talk to the bond day.
It's good
But
for
I know
me.
class ends at 4:30.
I need at least 3 hours, It's
Probably
not,
a weekend.
but okay, I will try to quickly give you some tips and ways. There's so many things I have actually. All right.
I think how they could handle stress and how they could de-stress
Yeah.
would
This,
be very beneficial for the students. Things that they could apply to their daily life now would be great.
So I will tell you, because I had the worst stress, so this must give you a strength that how am I surviving. So anyway, I faced this altitude sickness there. All right, and then I was about to ready myself for this practice. I was telling where there's no ego, how we observe this. When I was about, because we die if you identify with what dies, but what dies can't be really you. Okay, so when we able to, if you are perceiving that properly in a calm way, you'll find all your problems will start to dissolve. So that a practice we do daily, we find any trauma, any problem we had, if you focus and sort of watch that and really see, is it me that is suffering? Is a real me can suffer? Then you watch that painful area and just being observant of it, you'll find many interesting things. You'll find that it's just like a thought or a feeling there only. There's no real solidity or concreteness to that. It may be even exams or anything that you think it's a thought, my friends. So whatever this thing, but then when you're not worried, you will perform better. Because your maximum, when you're worried, which part of your brain works? Reptilian brain or the reptilian brain works, right? Whenever the reptilian brain is working, the thinking and the analyzing part of the brain gets, disturbed. So anyway, there in this altitude, this thing, I was like almost facing this, and suddenly I was going to focus that. And there the thought came, I couldn't share enough with the people. Because I was a long time a solitary monk, avoiding people. For one reason, I didn't want to be a hypocrite and I want to purify myself. But I think I overdid that. Because I should have shared something. I did on the way, but never. So 2012, I did come to the public. After Kailas, it was like this. People came to meet me like 8 o'clock in the morning. And they should stay until 4 o'clock. I was wondering what this. While speaking, they are getting something. Then if I do a meditation, how will it be? So that's how I came to the public. We had a program and this suddenly crowds were coming from. So that, but still I did the program, went back. I was doing 1, 2 for 1 year. So 2013, 14, I faced this. And there I felt I have not done enough to the people. Now can't help it. And I was focused on preparing to face death. So anyway, I managed to overcome that period, okay? 2015, I faced again. This was like a no-return journey. And this situation, I was like going into a coma. I don't know whether, and the same thought came and same, I was watching myself. And anyway, I will tell you, I managed to recover. And there's another problem that happened. It was like I was, this is the first time I saw like a devil demon when you're pursuing these things, like really attack you. And there I had such experience. This I can't tell exactly, but I can tell you, it's not nice for me to tell, not yet. One day I hope I will reveal this exactly. It was like my robes were removed. And there, whatever I cherished and what I really wanted, it was like, it was annihilated. And just to survive that time, suddenly, I was looking for something, because your body can be destroyed, but your mind, if it get into depression, is the biggest problem. So there, suddenly it came to my mind, don't personalize this. Now, personalizing is okay, that was not a strong word for me. So I used a wrong English word. Don't egolize this. This is how I saw this. And just is a happening, a phenomenon. And then let it pass away. That's how and then I managed to go forward. Then I got to know that all these problems, difficulties come when you're close to a certain gem in front of you. So with experience, I got to know that if you're getting much problem, that means you are, progressing. If you are not, that means, well, there's something wrong. So life, nature brings these situations for you to. So there only I decided to come. Other invitations, I start to accept the invitations. First it started from Australia, and then the YouTube it went to, and the invitations to America came. So this year I was really busy, super busy, but very interesting also. 3 years ago I was in Rishikesh area, and I met one like a sadhu, have you heard of sadhus? Like meditators, like some saintly persons in India, in the foothills of Himalayas. And suddenly he met me, he saw me, he said, when you are 45 years, 45 years, you will not have time to come to this area at all. I can't be so busy. I was so carefree and enjoying my meditation. And he was so true. 25, that was 2017, this whole year, I have never been so busy. This time, everyday program. so that's something I can't explain again, like some destiny, we call it sometimes karma. It's nice to know that there are certain ways that things have to take place. And this is another mechanism. It needs an entire different subject for that, but it also brings a lot of peace. You think this is the way things should happen. You don't take it as, I should have done this, I should have done that. You can learn to accept situations. Now I must quickly go how to remove your stress. Okay, it's very well known that normally it's now become very popular. Mindfulness. It's like a stress busting. It gives us stress busting effect. Be mindful for a moment. Like, they say, it's a nice research made by, I think, microbiologist or somebody, can't remember. Like when I feel the touch of this thing, okay, I'm feeling the holding of this rope. Just feel what is going on to you now, like your legs resting on the carpet. When you notice these simple things, that it seems so simple. It's stress. It has a stress relieving effect. Did you ever try that?
Yeah.
Have you?
No,
Not okay. So actually, this is called Iryapate. In the sutras, it explains. This is only one. I don't want to reveal these three because it's like, I don't know. There are three more, which is connected. Now, this is where you are touching the energy part of your brain. That means you are focusing, you are bringing the mind to the present moment. And then you begin to sort of settle down to the moment, and then it gets time to sink in to the energy consciousness, energy part of your consciousness. There is full of strength, full of power, where you don't feel tired, worry, fear. All these are not foreign to that area of the brain. So normally we have only learned we have explored, we have gone to the moon, we have gone everywhere, but we have not explored consciousness. Isn't it? This is a funny thing, which is closest to us. And we'll find moon is also illusion. We have gone in an illusion. In an illusion spaceship. Not a spaceship rocket, right? So, but if you have known very clearly what we are here. Now, for example, okay, can you use a finger below your eyeball? And can you look at something in front, this board or me or whatever? I can see you all. And can you shake from below? Up, right? When you shake like that, have you tried? Do you really try? Don't be frightened. If you look at something and just shake from below like this, now I see that light's just going down like that, right? So is that light there or here?
There.
Sorry?
There.
Do you think the light is there or here?
There.
So it should be just staying there as it is.
Yeah.
But when you shake the eyeball, why is it shaking?
Our percentage changes.
Yeah, if you don't perceive, there's no light there. It doesn't exist to you. So perception is nothing. That is where the world is. That's the broadest way. Other one is like a very, very narrow way of looking at the world. If you are not conscious of the world, there's no world for you. So that's why many of the meditations we have where we focus on the source of our consciousness, source of our experience. That is the body. So we pay attention, and then first we have to get into kind of rest mind. So this is one, okay? Now some of them who have really stressed, they do practice this. Now for example, if they have to catch a train, they have done it. I remember one devotee from Milan, she used to tell me, she used to notice the exact train number, and then from there to here, she would notice the steps that, she used to feel the steps that she's taking. Just, when you're walking now, which shoes, it's possible still. But otherwise I call you walk the animal walk. Tuck, 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 tuck. No consciousness, no mindfulness of that steps. But if you pay attention, she also feel that you're going on a holiday. Just imagine. Because more you are cool when you're going to exams or anywhere, you perform better. More you are sort of stressed out, you get confused, your memory starts to fail. I have practical experience. Because I have not tried to exams, I passed. Not because I studied. Because I didn't study much at all. So anyway, this paying attention to, now when you're washing the water, when you're having a shower, feel the water touching you. You will see it will make miracles happen. There's one gentleman, one young man, I hope, let's see quickly. One man, I remember when I was working, for 2 years I was working. I was talking to him about the power of being in the present moment. So now whatever you saw or heard, just to remind how it has finished. And how it has passed away, and what has to come after this moment, it's not going to come yet. It's only an idea you have. I want to do this, do that. Just pay attention to now, what you really feel now. Like now the air condition and the sound, what you're feeling, even the thought you're going, you just note it. Like that, when you pay attention, I was explaining something to him many years back. So we were in the office, and suddenly next day, he only didn't worship me, like he didn't I saw there's something he experienced. His father has told him the previous day to pick up somebody from the airport. So he went, he was late. Suddenly he was in a panic, like suddenly there was a traffic block. And then he couldn't do anything. He was stuck with this excitement. Suddenly he said he remembered me. And then he thought, suddenly he has told that, the future is not to be thought of. And the past, the father is telling to come for this, that is just a sound, this is a memory. And when he was trying to pay attention to the moment, he found he was able to the mind started to think coherently, and he was able to move on. It has tremendous power. And that if you get to know this, this is one thing you can try, okay? So one day I was now, in England, I was becoming driving instructor, I would say, because some people taking me from programs, when they are seated, they just like to get some information. Normally, the organizers have told that I want to be quiet while they are taking me. I want to meditate, not talk a lot, this and that. So anyway, they used to ask me, Bante, can we ask something from you? I said, yes, okay, you can talk. And then when they used to talk, they used to ask, mainly one of the questions was how to meditate while working. Now, my friends, how to meditate while working. This is something, if you really meditate while working, you don't feel tired. That's the secret. You don't feel tired. The work is done mechanically. So what happened, I told this particular gentleman, now I thought all the time explaining won't do. I said, just you feel, now we'll try now. Let us try. And I told him, just hold the steering wheel. Feel the steering wheel properly, the leather. You feel the seat. Now he was like here. I told him to recline and be comfortable, like you're in a park or something, and just feel the steering wheel, and just feel the back touching to the seat. And when I was telling, he was quiet. He didn't talk anymore. So I knew something he's experiencing. And I kept quiet and he went on. To the end of the journey, he was telling, oh, Bante, I never experienced this peace of mind before. I wish you all the time with me here. So actually, I understand what happened to him. When you observe that monotonous, momentary reality, okay, it's also real, the mind gets settled, it gets into that equanimous state. You're nearing that cool pond in your consciousness. Okay? You're not even go inside, it's so cool. But at least that coolness coming from that area, it gives you little peace. You can try this. This is definitely, you will experience something. Now, this is only one. But I'm going to reveal other three slowly. Now, this is because medical science, they're all doing with this kind of mindfulness testing and all that. But with the MRI scan and all this, but there are other three. One is called sense control. Sense control. Now, this is something where you reduce the monkey mind. Now, actually, when you're crossing a road or somewhere, you look at the cars properly, but you don't look who is inside the car. This is something you learn to screen for your senses. All right? Like this. If you look at my eyes now, I look at you, I can see you. Now, do I look focused? Do I look focused? Yes. Now I look focused, right?
Yes.
Now do I look focused? Sorry? Look at my eyeballs. Do I look focused? No. I'm not focused. Now I'm focused, okay? That time I'm not focused. Now, that is where you don't look at the details of the perception. So this is something where you reduce the monkey mind. You register so much because you've taken details. The brain is so sensitive. And then when you sit down for meditation or whatever, not only meditation, you create that stressfulness. So if you experience something more intoxicating, how much stress you will feel because you lose so much energy. Okay? My goodness, I have 10 minutes, is it?
12.
12 minutes, sir. You're so punctual, all of you. So I have some very important about addictions and all that, how to explain all this fast. Because that also drains a lot of computer games, dopamine, how it works. I don't know. You might have to go to the YouTube, how I explain all these things. The dopamine, how it's connected with our game addiction. Okay, I go fast like that. From Facebook, how the certain negative forces enter your system.
In order to enjoy something, you also have to suffer.
Sorry?
In order to enjoy stuff, you also have to be able to suffer.
To suffer?
Yeah.
Suffer life? Or
you want to get rid of all the stressfulness, but that you also want to get rid of all the joy and stuff like that, right? That's how it means to be enlightened, to be above all the earthly desires.
Yes. It is like, I would say, initially it looks like suffering. Like for a drug addict, coming out of drugs will be like suffering. Isn't it? Because it might be, like the turkey effect and all that. These addictions, draw you, and it's painful, no doubt. It's painful, but you see, I would say there's a sort of index to know how much what is happiness. Normally it is said, it is like if you're happy for no reason, and there's found that in cultures also where they're always smiling, it's a state of mind, this happiness. And if you have a long face with all these pleasures, what's the meaning of it? Because the experience of happiness is in the mind. It is something in the mind. So it's a level of contentment or feeling of this thing. And from a young age, it's difficult, more difficult. Because you have more energy, more this thing, and more distractive sort of this thing. So it needs special, but if you taste it, I believe you're destined. It doesn't mean you're small or young. I don't see like that. I see a sort of destined energy coming from you all. You may be really grown up than people who are really bigger than you. It depends on, it could be in your genes. So I want to give you quickly some points, right? So as I told you, you have to have some limit. We'll go for a question. Let's see.
Go for questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
No, have you heard of addiction to games?
There was
is the dopamine level of games, that is equal to a heroin addict. Same brain function happens. Have you known that? In Oxford University, they have made this.
Sure.
Sir? Anyway. And so now it doesn't mean how to explain this. Okay, I will tell you quickly. This I must go through this. Sometimes you find in your life, suddenly you put your life into like mud. When you're putting your life into mud suddenly, like mud means you're doing something hidden. Okay? So like you do something which is hidden in your life. Say maybe it's in the bathroom, maybe it is in going to somewhere, in the computer, with the internet. Wherever you're doing something hidden, you should know it is some strong emotion that you're activating. Actually, my friend has told in America, please tone down Bhante. Once he told me, but I believe. I believe this is not, it's possible for me, it's possible for all of you, because I believe who are in the range of this consciousness, they are we are all similar, there's the seed and the tree, and the tree and the seed has a connection. So this is about how you get addicted, the addiction to be noticed in the modern day, where you are draining energy, because people think to remove stress only mindfulness won't do. When you are doing, your lifestyle is such that you are draining your energy in other ways. It's going to affect these are only symptoms, byproducts, of this wrong way where you don't know the mental energy and you're losing it in certain addictions. So when you know the danger, the damage of it, so as I told you, like I have found out that if you activate your emotions to a certain pitch, like for example, we know that if you have compassion and good thoughts like that, some energetic thoughts, you create high consciousness. When you have negative one, kill, shoot, this, something negative, like even something suddenly where dopamine is released so much, where you feel excited. It could be through games, it could be pornography, it could be so many ways. When these things happen, my friends, you are opening your consciousness to a lower consciousness. Okay, lower means it weakens the mind. And now if you have an addiction, you go to a thing again and again. There are two things. When you're going again and again, you must know to the type of thinking you're having, you're opening that dimension. And that dimension, there are beings in that dimension, they enter this body. Okay, now I go fast. Okay, it takes time for you to digest this. Okay, so with these beings, you can know the action you're driven to do something, a temptation. Say you're driven, there are certain forces inside you. Now I'm telling like this. This is a certain personal experience and my findings. Now, if it happens like that, next time, this is like a vampire. It's going to suck all my energy away. So next time when the temptation comes with a friend or someone who comes to you, you can keep away from that. And then third day, fourth day, when you keep away like that, then that part of your brain gets time to repair. Okay? And when it repairs, in the other way, you're creating an opposite cycle where it is going to, remove that addictive or whatever cycle. So when it happens more, my friends, there will be a change in your body. I will tell you this also very important. That means you look more handsome. There's a chemical that is this thing is not hormone. Is not actually in medical science. It's in Ayurveda. It's called ojas, tejas. When that is created, it goes to the brain through the small nerves. It opens up certain areas of the brain which was not opened before. It gets deposited there, and those deposited hormones make you, have these thoughts of positivity, which is not with the reptilian brain, which is with the special brain we have. When that is happening like that, mostly, you will have a shine in your aura. Okay? There will be a shine in your cheeks and forehead. So if you want to be handsome, nice, if you want to attract more of everybody, to personality. In other words, you create personality. Other way, you destroy personality, my friends. Whatever you do in the negative way. So if this is done more, if you have the charming effect. So you don't have to apply, I don't know, you have here Nivea? Do you?
Yeah.
You don't need to apply Nivea if you have this. You have this charm, energy, you look so handsome, beautiful. Okay? So this is some point I must share. Now we go for a question. Okay, quickly. Yes.
What do you feel is your greatest piece of work thus far in this lifetime?
Sorry, I'm becoming an old man. I don't hear. Can you please tell loud or a little bit?
what do you feel is your greatest piece of work so far in this lifetime?
Your greatest piece of work.
Accomplishment.
Accomplishment, okay. This is a beautiful question. It's a rare question I'm getting in this kind of audience. Sri Lanka is a big question. They expect me to tell, I became this, I enlightened this name of some enlightenment. I will tell you. Very good. I would think, if I look back, I can't sort of name it and all that. I'm not there. We are not taught to do that. If I look back, now many think I have been to forests, doing all these things. What have I achieved? I'm so happy you asked this question. Actually, when I look back honestly, I would say this has prepared me to face death. If someone going to come with a gun and so on, I'm quite prepared for that. Or the accident. Now I remember. Today we had a small, like a guest. I wish someone records that time how I would react. This is I really wish, because this is my teaching, not the talking part like this. All this knowledge, how it can be demonstrated. And once I was recently, some months back, actually I was in the jungle where only the army, they were giving food. Like 1 kilometer, they used to walk and give me like a packet. They didn't see me there. I was in a retreat like thing. This was also very deep in the jungle in Sri Lanka, the national park. There, they first thought I was like a small monk, I mean, no idea. Oh, this monk, how is he going to be in the jungle? We are commandos and we are having this thing. But the night, they were wondering. So they were talking among themselves. I got to know. They said, he's not frightened. Why? There's no fear. We are frightened because we have family, we have kids and all these things. We think about them, we have to leave all these things. So this is something I would say I would have achieved, and I would like to achieve it more. I'm not saying I'm completely free from fear, but it's less.
We have a question in the back there.
Yes?
You said that. Louder, please.
You need a mic or you can come forward, because I'm really old now,
When you were 18, you said that you went through an experience that allowed you to not get frustrated anymore.
Yeah.
What was that experience?
I told like everything looked jelly, like everything like that's how I could explain. It's like everything would. It's not like a visual one. It's like an understanding that anything that begins in time definitely ends. Now our talk also. Now it is in back of my mind. This is going to end. Okay, so I will not attach to this, and I would not now when I go back, I would see it was so impersonal to me. Now many stress and all that we get because we identify so much, with the wrong misunderstandings. Like someone scolded me, someone insulted me. But who is this? Was there a me that experienced that? You must go to that experience and really study it. So when you see that it was really, this is your own world of misunderstanding. And when you were able to separate that is the reality of it. These are dead cells, dead conscious cells. And when you can leave it, your baggage falls off. That's where you don't feel worry, you remain in the present moment. Do you get this? I'm telling the practice of it. So if you have now, you don't worry about the exams before the exams come. You sort of, pay. So that was an experience where it made me see the world is like a dream, not very real, and not to be, really serious about it. Oh, there's one question there, okay? I will come to you, right? It's okay. What you say? What do you want?
So you talked about like mastering peace and gaining happiness. How can we do that while living in horrible times like now?
Right. Okay. Can you see me?
Yes.
And what can you hear? If you really hear properly, then what is it? Some generator or something, right? You can see me. If you just focus, just look at me. You just note that you're seeing. Do you have thoughts now?
A little.
Okay. Just note that you have little thoughts.
Okay.
It's a horrible place now?
Well, not here.
Not here. Well, I'm talking about like how can we like.
But here is only real. Something that you're thinking of horrible is an idea. So if you think it's horrible, it will be horrible.
Right.
What you think is the world. So you never, even if an atom bomb is brought to you, you see it as bed of roses. You understand?
Yes.
so happy you asked me this. Okay.
Please correct me if I'm wrong at any point in this, but in order to gain enlightenment, which I think is also called nirvana, you go through several lifetimes being reincarnated to at one point you reach that state of mind, right?
Again, if you think several lifetimes, no, it can happen now, right now.
Right, like
Depends how you focus.
maybe this is your lifetime, like, but before the several lifetimes before that, we're working up to this point of life, right?
I don't really want you to believe. I don't want to bring this. I don't want you to blindly believe. Because I didn't come in a kind of I would say to English. I would say only proof of previous life will be Edgar Cayce, Many Mansions. Have you gone through that?
Which one?
Edgar Cayce, Many Mansions, Miracle Man of Virginia. He was known like this. This very interesting one. He goes into like a unconscious state, and then he would relate to certain happenings of our life to crusaders and all that. Okay, but I would like you to understand. You don't go Buddhism or anything. I don't think Buddha would be. I think Buddha was not Buddhist. He was not Buddhist. So I really like you to investigate the truth. And if you find something other than that, I would like to. So regarding that, you become enlightened, and enlightened means you feel you are not getting angry. You are not greedy. Your emotions are cooled down, and you don't have ego, sense of self. And if someone comes to kill you, you do not fear. You don't die.
They say like when at one point you eventually reach nirvana or enlightenment, you no longer go through the cycle of life sort of thing, right? Like you no longer reincarnate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So how does like back then, let's say a few thousand years ago, we had like a certain amount of people, and then there's more people being added to the circle of life. Like how does that add up? Like if people eventually reach nirvana, they don't have to go through that circle anymore. So how does the new life sort of come to be, or at least sentient life?
Like the past you were telling about too?
When you reach nirvana, you no longer go through this cycle of life, right?
Yeah.
You're over that.
It is actually told like the nirvana is like it's like it was like you don't have suffering.
Right.
You can't talk about what it is, this or that. It goes beyond language. Language is with consciousness and perception. Okay.
I know.
So when you are going beyond something, perception and consciousness, there's no. If someone explains nirvana a lot, that means he has not realized it.
Right. No, I don't mean like I'm asking what nirvana is like. I mean like when you reach nirvana, you no longer go through the cycles of life, but there is still life. Like
okay, but it's better you experience nirvana and then see whether this question comes. You understand?
Okay, we'll take one last question because it is 4:30 and I know some of you need to leave.
Okay.
So one question, and then if we can ask
Do a small
Bante to do a
meditation.
small meditation and a blessing. So if you could stay, feel free to. If you need to leave,
If you have to leave, just wait 1 minute. Just stand
One more question.
near the door. Can you stand 1 minute?
Okay. Oh, no, there's not. Okay, you can ask your question. Go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify. I think he wasn't talking about just that, as well as the state of nirvana. I think he was talking about like the influx of beings or consciousness. So he's saying it's like, say there's 1,000 people in the world for whatever reason, and 50 of them break the cycle. They get out. But
So it will get reduced or what?
But then all those other people have more children than they currently have. If there were only 1,000 people, 1,000 souls ago, how did these new souls come about for more people to exist?
what he said.
Right. So actually, there are 10,000 world systems according to the enlightened minds, master's vision. Now, I was telling that 10,000 world systems, such as world systems more. So we have normally in the Buddha's way of explaining cosmology, it's like he has like a human plane and the other dimensions. Now with relativity, you can know these dimensions do exist. Very interesting. Now such planes there are of 10,000, and such 10,000 it's called. It goes on like that. So when you get to know who this person is, like if you think of beings that much, that if you think that is there. If you go on thinking, so it's like we are seeing it like we are in a certain dimensional way, 3-dimensional way, like a quantity you can quantify. We know how to, when we get to know how this idea of being arises in our mind. Now if you're going to see that there are 1,000 like that, number of beings that will be there. It's mind created.
So don't think about it.
Yeah, if you don't think, you will annihilate all the beings. It's like what you're being conscious of. There are so much you can go on. Even here, not only human beings, there are other kind of creatures, millions, billions. Humans are very little. Now, even in our body or everywhere. So we are very special ones who study this, who can understand this, and kind of, this is a very special state we are in, where we think, we question, and so on. So actually, the same question was asked by the Buddha. It was like whether all beings, get liberated and so on, and this. Then the Buddha was showing that the idea of beings is you can't put them into a box or somewhere like number, where you can make senses or something. It is actually how they come. There are other systems,
So
and they're karmically corresponding. They fit in there,
the cycle goes from other dimensions.
Yeah. There's endless. You get it. I hope so. Not yet.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you for your questions. Thank you for answering.
Now we do a small meditation.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Are you in a hurry? Anyone? Even 2 minutes, 3 minutes is a bit of hurry. No?
A few minutes, I think.
You are in a hurry, is it? Or you have to go, right? Just stand up. Just stand up. Keep the book down. Keep the book not on the ground. It's okay. It's all right.
So,
Just relax the body like this. Come near me. Don't worry. Come. I just want to do a relaxing thing, but not time. But I give you a quick. Just look at me. Just look at me. Just relax. Take a deep breath. Just breathe. Just sort of relax. Just forget about these people. You'll be going to some class or something. So just think now only I feel this moment, the legs touching, and let me take a deep breath and just completely relax. Relax all the heaviness in the mind. That's nice. That's good. That's better. Still little tension. Hope you're relaxing. So I hope you can. So we do a little, just 5-10 minutes, okay? How to do this? Shall I sit down? I need to see you all also. First time I've been doing standing up. It should be able to do also like this, okay? Okay, we do like this. I like to see you all of you. Normally we have the seat a little up. Just pay attention to the sounds that you're just pay attention. Can you hear the sounds properly? What is the sound you hear?
air conditioner.
Air conditioner. Just pay attention to that. When you're really relaxed, or sit in a posture where you're relaxed actually, not holding something, and like you don't think about your body too much. Okay? Like you're in front of a beach or in front of a park, you imagine yourself. And while you're doing that, if you're getting relaxed, you will notice the in-breath and out-breath. Not artificially, you must just feel the chest area. Automatically you're like inhaling and exhaling, like you're drawing in the breath and sending out the breath. And meanwhile relaxing. Now when you're relaxing like that, thoughts may go, no problem. Just be here and now. And when you're doing that, just picture yourself seated from like outside. how you're seated or what jersey you're wearing, what shirt, t-shirt. Now I'm wearing a robe, I'm standing, talking, like looking from outside your own body. Just think of it. If you understand this body to be an illusion, how peaceful you will be. The mind purified, free from greed, agitations, sleepiness, worry, fears, all the negative emotions. If you're free, you'll be like floating. If you get this feeling, this is the way towards liberation. One of the blessings you get from liberation and enlightenment. So you think, may I get this wonderful wisdom, and may I come to this inner peace. Not only me, all who are in this room, they're all looking for happiness. May they too get this wisdom, enlightenment of seeing this is like a dream and a nightmare, but a dream. To know it will be no problem. And if I get this vision, I feel at peace, I'm happy. May all who are in this room get this experience. Not only this room, like you're going in a helicopter, in the other lecture rooms, and the entire block, you picture them all like from outside, like a transparent building. They are going here and there, walking. May they get this happiness, all of them. I should not be selfish. They also deserve everybody. Not only them going out of this place, entire New Jersey, like you're looking from space, small ants, like ants, so many human beings. And then, I don't know, this is New York, then North America, like you're looking at the map, South America, Europe, Africa, Mediterranean, Australia, Japan, entire planet, like you're looking from space. May all of them be free from suffering. May they get this tranquil, cool mind. And all the human beings, every country. Not only human beings, all the pets, animals, creatures, all types of existence, spirits, any type of lower existences, may they get this happiness, tranquility. Not only those people, even higher dimensions, higher worlds, whatever invisible world systems, to the highest, to the lowest, and in between. May all sentient beings get this peace of mind. Like you're looking from space, watching from outside. So, this you can do it now alone, whenever you have time. It's a good meditation. It opens up so much energy, opens up new consciousness. And last, I'm going to give you my blessings. And this, just 2 minutes I need. What I must tell you, I have been practicing in the Himalayas, certain energies from those mountain saints, that I have to give this to you all. Something like some force I have to bring. So just something, if today they remain in silence for so many years, these saints. So this energy comes based on silence. So if you can keep silent much as possible, you have to go to lectures, whatever, I don't know. But you can eat dinner or whatever, but if you can remain calm in the night also, you will get this energy working in your system. So I'm giving you some idea. And tomorrow morning you can do it as normal, and in the night too you get some blessings more. So for this, I just give you an idea. Try to remain quiet, calm today. Only one day. It might give you some boost for your whole life.